I have no problem talking. Hi. I have no problem talking about it at all. It's not uncomfortable for me. There was a time where he and Lucy were pretty cool. And so every now and again, he would hang out at her place, maybe even stay the night or something. I think this was my first time coming to see her place. And I also ended up staying the night. Our other friend, I think he's talking about, is Jack. But I don't know if Jack actually ended up staying. So I think it was the three of us hanging. And then Jack probably ended up leaving or something like that. Because Jack wasn't really there the next day. Maybe Jack had to leave to go to work. That I cannot recall. I just know that, if I'm not mistaken, they weren't there the next day. What I do recall is this. He was there the night before. He was already there when we got back. We talked and chilled. Went upstairs. Jack was there initially. I think me, Jack, and Lucy. We were like fooling around before we went to sleep. The next day, I think Jack ended up leaving, maybe to go to work or something. So it was just me and Lucy in bed. And then there was a point where Chinedu came upstairs, took off his bottoms, and got in bed with us. Now, this is extremely problematic because we didn't have that kind of relationship with him whatsoever. So for him to even assume that that was okay makes no sense. And these are the sorts of things that you don't assume. So even his comfort level of doing something like that kind of shows that, his kind of state of mind. The other thing is, that same day, I remember going to take a shower. And so I was in the bathroom showering. And you can always hear when someone's in the fucking bathroom. So he walked in the bathroom while I was showering and even hung around. And it's I've experienced this from people before. They'll do particular things like that and make it seem like it's not that big of a deal, so that it's kind of a psyop, because then it makes you question yourself and whether or not you should have a problem with it. Like if someone else is chill, if they're chill about it and they're not acting all crazy, then it could make you think oh, is there something wrong? I didn't feel that way. I was like, why the fuck is he in here? Because again, we didn't have that kind of relationship. He tried to make it seem benign, like he didn't know I was in there or something like that. But that wasn't true either. So this was after Lucy had to kick him out of the fucking room. I was more asleep than she was, I guess. So I didn't really wake up when he had gotten into bed with us. And he was he had no bottoms on, and he was grinding up against me in my sleep. And that's when Lucy woke up and she's like, what the fuck are you doing in here? So she had to kick him out. But didn't immediately kick him out of the house, because they were friends too. So sometimes when you're in the middle of the situation, processing, your immediate response isn't always to full out kind of flip out on people. But she definitely was like, what the fuck are you doing? And that's when I woke up more thoroughly. So, and I think I remember her having to sit there and explain to him what the fuck was wrong with his behavior. And I remember waking up and being up and seeing this man sitting on the floor with no bottoms on and just his shirt. And her having to sit there and be like, yo, this is not the fuck okay. What would make you think that that's all right? So yeah, she was definitely pissed, especially because she considered him her friend and let him stay at her place and stuff like that. I don't think he was like living there, but just the idea that she would feel comfortable to have him over and let him stay the night and stuff like that, and to like wake up with him in her bed with no bottoms on was just not the move. But he's definitely manipulative, and he's not stupid. I think that's the other thing, is that like people forget that when you have some semblance of intelligence, you know how to use language, and what language to use to try to manipulate things. I remember even after all of this, like he tried to like hold an event where, people would like discuss consent and stuff like that, which again is a psyop, because then it's like people will associate him with doing stuff like that. And so they'd assume that he's not the sort of person who, it's like his understanding of consent doesn't mean he's not violating it. In fact, more so means he probably is, if he has a clear understanding of it or something like that. But he tried to, I don't know. I think he was trying to make it seem like, oh, maybe people don't really understand, or like whatever. So yeah, it's not uncomfortable for me to talk about. I appreciate your sensitivity though. But I have no problem talking about it, especially because, like, people should know. This was years ago. I don't know that man now, but that doesn't mean he's any more trustworthy either. While people have space and room to change, it doesn't mean that they actually do or have. And if he hasn't proven any different, there's no reason to believe he's changed at all. Maybe he hasn't had the same opportunities to perpetuate the same kind of behavior. But I'm also not the only person. Dang. Should I? There was this other person. Her name was Sierra. And I remember her also complaining about him, an experience that she had with him as well. So, but that was my personal experience. And nobody just does that kind of shit. That was definitely intentional. He knew what he was doing.
Thank you for that. That was exactly what I needed to hear, I guess. Cause I've been close friends with Dante since about 10 years ago, and he was the first person to tell me, Chin's manipulative. This is definitely true. We need to stop talking to him. We need to blah, blah, blah. And after a handful of years, he became friends with him again, and, kind of broke it down like, oh, it wasn't as serious. Now that we can look back, it wasn't as serious, whatever, which people had been telling me for years, but it always seemed like shady people. And they would always say weird stuff like, oh, well, but he let me stay on his couch when I was homeless. So like, I'm riding with him. And I'd be like, well, that doesn't mean he didn't also do some terrible shit. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, Dante has become friends with him again, and this time I was like, bro, I can't just take your word for this shit anymore. Like, I need to figure out what's really going on. There's also a very large new hip-hop community that we're both involved with, and I can't go to shows now without actually seeing Chin, and I just don't know what to do in those situations. So I finally did talk to him, like I said, and he told me the story that you're saying, but he said it completely different. Like, he didn't do anything wrong. There was nothing said to him. Like, he was only even talking. He was talking about it as it was the night before. Yeah, he was just basically saying, "Oh no, like those women are crazy," essentially. And he said the same thing basically about Sierra as well. So I had heard from my ex, a woman who I dated a couple years ago. She had told me about the Sierra thing, and just that he was generally creepy. And so yeah. I need to figure out something to do. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I feel like I can't just continue to let it be unsaid when there's just like dozens of musicians that I'm friends with that are just like, oh, he's the greatest, blah, blah, blah. We're friends with, this, that, and a third. I don't really know how to tell people, but I'm trying to find like a safe, good way to do that. And even in most recent cases, when I went down to speak with him and Dante was there and a couple other dudes were there was just these big red flags. Like, I guess I wasn't as spiritually, in tune back in the day when I knew him and shit, but now, like, right when I saw him, I was like, yo, this dude's eyes and face just scream untrustworthy. And then, like, the way that he was flipping the stories, and even one of the other rappers that was over his crib, like about a month ago when I went there, was a dude who was also accused of a woman waking up with him, like, taking her clothes off at a party on the couch. And so I was like, all right, man, that's red flag after red flag. I just, like, yeah. So what you're saying confirms, like, pretty much most of the gap of where I was like, what is it? What is this thing? So I very much appreciate that. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, it really is like a lot of, he knows about consent. He knows exactly how he's stepping and trying to play it off like it's something else. And a lot of men, especially, but a lot of people too in general, have just will ride with him and be like, oh yeah, no, it's not like they were saying it was. He didn't really do anything crazy. And I feel like I'm one of the few people here that's just like, bro, like, this is a clear line. It's either he's innocent or he's not. Like, we need to figure this shit out. And so yeah, I need to. And with Dante, we've become very close friends. But this is, the main thing that has me like, bro, if he's gonna keep going back and forth, I can't associate with him either. But yeah, once again, thank you. And I don't know, I guess I'll keep you posted on what I decide to do. I'm just going to talk to a couple close friends that I really trust. And yeah, if I have any questions, I suppose I'll ask you, but appreciate it. Honestly, I don't really know what I should do or how I should go about having these conversations. I just know that conversations need to be had, and a lot of people that I know are just avoiding it and kind of, no disrespect to them, but a lot of people say like, oh yeah, I just stay away from that. And I'm just like, the dude is everywhere. Like, we need to let people know so that we can be safe, and that so we can, people just deserve to know, you know what I mean? I don't know. But if you do have any advice, like, I would appreciate it. I don't want to, get myself into all types of danger and shit, but I definitely want to have these conversations. And that's for me within, this music community and stuff that, like, I assume that you probably don't even know a lot of those people. But yeah.